This podcast is certified fresh. Freshmediaworks.com.
Hey, welcome back to the Marketing Drive. I'm Chris Doelle, and this is the show where I talk about marketing during my commute, hence the name, the Marketing Drive. Now, I am headed directly into the sun this morning, and man, it is bright. Not a cloud in the sky, and extremely bright. So if you hear a screech and a crash, I probably didn't see something came out in front of me. But it begs the question, who edited this thing together to put it out there after I died horribly in a crash? So, we'll see. Anyway, I want to talk about a couple things. Your product and the market. Sometimes you have a product or service and you think, hey, this is the cat's pajamas, the bee's knees, whatever other sayings you can come up with. This is something the market needs. I assume, whatever it is you do, you believe that. But there are times, especially on a new venture or maybe a new product, a new offering, that you think it'll work. You think it'll be a good idea. You think, hey, I would like this, so I'm guessing the rest of the world would like this. If there's anything you should learn about business, it's that you are not the customer. Ever. Don't ever believe that you're the customer. So you may want to throw a whole lot of marketing dollars into a product or service or a new offering. You throw a ton of stuff into it. You buy ads. You go on radio talk shows and talk up your product. You get TV interviews, magazine cover spreads, billboards, T-shirts, and hand out other kind of tchotchkes, things like that. And it doesn't work. Well, it's easy to say the takeaway is I did the wrong thing. You know, I should have instead of buying radio ads, maybe I should have placed ads on Facebook or LinkedIn. Or instead of putting money into Google AdWords, I should have bought a billboard. It's very easy to assume that the problem was with the marketing channel you chose. And while that may be true, you may have chosen a poor fit when it comes to where and how to market your product or service, but it may not be the only reason. It may be there's not a market for it. Perfect example of a company that spent literally millions and millions of dollars on a new product that was not well received, Coca-Cola. You'll remember a while back when New Coke came out, and that was because if you ever watch the movie Cola Wars, you'll get the whole story, and it was pretty awesome. Pepsi had passed it for the first time in forever. And it was only for like 1 month or 1 quarter or something. Pepsi had surpassed Coke in sales. And what did the executives of Coca-Cola do? They panicked. They said, oh no, people don't like Coke anymore. They decided that it was the flavor that was the problem, and that it wasn't the fact that Pepsi was being marketed to a new generation and Pepsi was using folks like Michael Jackson as spokesmen. It wasn't all the great marketing Pepsi was doing. It was, for some reason, they believed it was their product. So they changed it. Well, you know the story. The public rebelled. They said, no, I want my Coke back. This is ridiculous. This stuff tastes like a knockoff version of Pepsi now. And it backfired. They could have easily said, well, we marketed the wrong way. But that's one thing Coke has always done well, is marketing. And they've tracked their marketing, and they've seen the kind of response. So they learned something from the numbers, and the thing they learned wasn't that we were marketing to the wrong places. They were getting the metrics where they needed it. They were getting the eyeballs. They were getting the ears. They were getting noticed. It wasn't that at all. It was the product. So I guess what I'm getting at is if you do have a new product or service, test it. Find some ways. Talk to some trusted members of your current client base if you're an existing business and say, hey, here's the thing I'm going to try. Let me know what you think of it. When I launched my VCMO, my virtual CMO product or service, however you want to call it, I call it a product because I gave it a name. But when I launched that, I didn't just say, hey, here's a good idea and just start spinning it out. I went and talked to some clients. I talked to some existing clients about their pleasure points, their pain points, different things that they liked and disliked about the way we had done business. These are folks I had done marketing for a decade. And I said, here's what I'm considering trying. A, what do you think of it? B, how would you suggest I do it differently? And I've got tons of great feedback, which allowed me to create this program where in the past, to hire me, you had to pay me $250 an hour. And I would come out, I would look at your marketing, I'd do whatever piece you needed, and then I'd invoice you. Well, the virtual CMO program allowed me to basically go on as your chief marketing officer. But instead of 40 hours, 60 hours, 80 hours a week, I'm yours for 2 hours or 4 hours, whatever the fit is. That allowed me to greatly reduce the cost because it has a 6-month contract to it. And there's no invoicing, collecting. It's an agreement. It gets charged. So that model, the customers really liked. They loved the idea. They gave me some tweaks. I modified some of them, ignored some of the other ones, but that became the VCMO program. Then when I started to market it, I already knew there was an audience for it. Then my goal was to go figure out where that audience was. And of course, that's what I do. So I figured that out, put it in the right channels, tracked everything so I could see where I was getting a response. And voila, now almost every client I have, literally all of them but one, are on the VCMO with varying numbers of hours per week that they use. It's allowed my business cash flow to normalize, which was very important when I got married. And it's allowed them to know, hey, I always have a marketing guy available. So when something comes up, boom, I can call my chief marketing officer, Chris, and say, hey, here's what I have in front of me. What are your thoughts? Or, hey, here's something I need you to do. Very simple. So the key is test, do some exploration, and figure out that it's a good product or service before you do it. Then kick it into your marketing funnels and let it rock on. All right, traffic is getting heavy right now here in Austin, Texas. So I'm going to pull this thing to a close and concentrate on the road. Don't forget to call that voicemail line, 713-568-6361. Leave your questions, comments, ideas, thoughts, random poetry, whatever you want. And I'll either respond to it here on the show or I'll put it in the show itself. Again, it's 713-568-6361. Thank you for joining me on the Marketing Drive. This is Chris Doelle, reminding you to keep it real.
You've been listening to The Marketing Drive with Chris Doelle. To learn more about how Chris can help your company get more customers, call 713-269-4620 or visit us on the web at freshmediaworks.com.